How's it going today, folks? Welcome to Sounds Like Liberty, episode number 47 with the Launchpad Media, always launching ideas in your direction. I'm your host, as always, Nicky P, here with my lovely wife and co-host, Lizzie. How we doing there, babe?
Doing all right.
Are we?
Yeah.
How all right are we doing?
All right?
It's Monday morning, as it always is when we do these.
I know.
I feel far more energetic and chipper having accomplished things than normal.
Yeah, it was a good morning. It was a good weekend. I'm feeling all right about it.
I actually hung out with you and Erma for a change, as opposed to relegating you to other places.
Yeah, and we did active stuff together. We didn't just sit on the couch and watch Psych, although Psych is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know how much I feel about that part. Like, laying on the couch part I do enjoy. Well,
no, I mean, we did a little, and that's always awesome. But, it's nice to actually be able to get out, and there was sunlight in Ohio. It happens occasionally.
Okay.
Sorry, am I too enthused?
No, but you're a little close to your mic. I can hear you breathing.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, you were telling me a story. Why don't you start there?
Oh, I was saying I was waxing poetic about America today.
Poetic?
Poetic? I was waxing poetic about America
Who's
today.
Poe? What's Zedict?
Something about liberty, and I think the idea of what the ideas behind America were, maybe not necessarily what the actual ideas behind America were, but, kind of what I grew up hoping it was supposed to be about. I don't know. I feel like I'd like to believe that there's some people actually give a crap about liberty and actual freedom. And, it's not all gone forever, and there's some way we can get back. It was a moment. I had a moment.
It was such a minarchist moment.
It wasn't even a minarchist moment. It has nothing to do with the government. It has to do with people actually standing up for what liberty is actually supposed to mean.
They don't believe in it.
Well, yeah, and I understand that there's a lot of people that don't believe in it, but doesn't somebody still believe in it? Can't somebody do something?
Some people believe in it, but some people are also stupid.
Yeah, I know.
And while they believe in it, they don't know how to articulate or manifest it.
I know.
Outside of that, most people are just lazy. That's, I think, the real problem that we face is that the idea of government is strictly it's a shitty reaction to market forces.
Yeah.
In that people don't want to have to make decisions about how to live their life. It's easier for someone to tell them how to do it.
Well, yeah, and that was totally part of my moment. We have to actually make sure that we're educated. We're equipped for liberty.
Everything can't be an ethical quandary for most people.
Yeah. But for a second
because they're not fire on the synapse as this guy is. That's all I'm saying.
For a second there, I had hope. I had hope for just a second.
I have hope for many things. That you're gonna stop blabbing those peas into the microphone.
Okay.
Do I have to bring back the pop filter?
Yes. I don't know why you ever got rid of the pop filter. I was a big fan of the pop filter.
Because I can't see your face when I record.
Aw, and you like my face that much.
Well, no, I can't yell at you for being too close to the microphone if I can't see where your face is. So, anyways, folks, we have a fun episode for you today. I'm super stoked about it. We've been sitting on this one for a while.
Yep.
It's been months, in fact, since we recorded the interview section of it. But I needed to time it for when the actual album was going to release.
Yep.
We have an interview with Cole Humphreys and Kelly Conway of Owen Glass. One of my favorite ANCAP records I've ever heard, and one that I think actually has broad appeal musically.
It is a very appealing record.
Very, very easy to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the backwards of the world where they're putting out the philosophy, but it's a very niche audience that's going to get into that. This is not quite so niche.
There you go.
And that excites me. But before we get into any of that nonsense, let's take a look at the lyrics to a song today. What are we doing, Liz?
Well, I don't know what got me thinking about this song, this artist, but for whatever reason, I had a John Mellencamp moment, or as my dad would call him, John Cougar Muskrat Swamp Rat Mellencamp.
Okay, he's not a swamp rat. That's something different.
I
But
don't know.
continue.
Anyway, but yeah, I think we were talking about Springsteen and we were talking about Mellencamp and
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer for that crappy new Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, good God.
Infused movie. What is it with these movies where they take foreigners and like try and smash them into American culture by like worshiping musicians?
well, I mean, and
You got that Indian Beatles artist, and now we got something's going on because we're seeing a lot of movies specifically about people from that particular part of the world and our pop culture.
I think they're trying to make Asia feel like not so far away from us culturally.
It's literally the other side of the planet. It can't get any further away.
Well, I understand, but we can be united in loving the blandest music that they play on the radio here.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to talk about Little Pink Houses by John Mellencamp.
I'm immediately hate it because it's got pink in the title.
Well, I know, and that was like the whole question.
It's
Is
some
it about
comedy bullshit?
Well, because I remember it got connected to that whole Pink House movie, which I like that cause. Like that whole story is amazing, and people should know about it. And yeah, totally. Let's have this totally overplayed song remind people of that at least, so there's a reason for them to hear it. You know, however many times they play it on the radio a day.
Yeah, I'm still standing by. I'm reading these lyrics. I don't know. I might still be commie trash, Liz.
All
I
right.
think you said it had some value, but
All right, well, let's find out.
we'll assess.
Okay.
There's a black man with a black cat living in a black neighborhood. You could do the entire episode like that. He's got an interstate running through his front yard. You know, he thinks he's got it so good. No. Unless they paid him a lot of money for that interstate.
Yeah, right?
Anyways, and there's a woman in the kitchen cleaning up the evening slop. God, he's so fucking... so like fake country. And he looks at her and says, "Hey, darling, I can remember when you could stop a clock."
I'm confused. What does that verse have to do with anything?
Well, the verse, I think he's talking about the little people. That's all it is. That's John Cougar's thing. It's just talking about the little people.
Well, is that the thing?
That's a guy talking to his wife about, "Hey, baby, I remember when you were good looking."
I know. Like, geez, dude.
What does that have to do with the politics? I don't think it has anything to do with the politics. I think he's literally just appealing to the blue-collar person. And that sounds like something they would say in the 80s.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Oh, but ain't that America for you and me? Ain't that America? We're something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free. Yeah. Little pink houses for you and me. Okay. Oh, for you and me.
All right. Well, there's a young man in a t-shirt listening to a rock and roll station. He's got greasy hair and a greasy smile. He says, "Lord, this must be my destination. 'Cause they told me when I was younger, saying, boy, you're gonna be president. But just like everyone else, those old crazy dreams just kind of came and went."
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, he does kind of make America seem a little shitty. I mean, just going by the lyrics. Like, basically, crap happens to
Your
us.
dreams is bullshit.
Crap happens to us, but we just slog on, because that's America.
I mean, I guess. I don't know that I see that necessarily.
No?
I think he's just focusing on like how small people are.
Okay.
Well, there's people and more people. What do they know? No. Go to work in some high-rise and vacation down at the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah.
And there's winners and there's losers, but they ain't no big deal. The simple man, baby, pays the thrills, the bills and the pills that kill.
All right. So that's all the lyrics to this song. Let's kind of look at this one a little bit more broad-based. Like I said, He is appealing to blue fucking Democrats, like literally the salt of the earth people in the world. You know, just the people that are struggling. I mean, literally, this is Donald Trump's campaign.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
It actually literally was, what's his face, the guy who didn't win. It was his campaign song.
Who's that?
What the hell was his name?
Keep near your microphone a little bit, please.
Sorry.
Like, Liz, you got to be talking into it, but not blowing it up.
Okay. Sorry. John Edwards used it for his presidential
Who the fuck's
campaign.
John Edwards?
Yeah, that's kind of I think that was kind of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he used one of the more nondescript songs, so for his nondescript campaign.
I mean, yeah. I can't. I'm sticking with my original inclination. I mean, it's just a fucking. It's just him trying to blow people who think that life is so hard.
Okay, fair enough.
The whole idea of like this, he's like saying, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're never gonna be president because dreams don't come true.
Yeah.
You just gotta sit here and fight through and fight the man and fight the power. It's everything that Democrats and the left are about. Stupid fucking slogans and no substance. He says nothing in the song.
There is literally nothing
paints,
of substance
He literally
in the song,
paints a
it's true.
picture of Americana and, you know, the trials and, you know, little moments that you deal with of unhappiness. You know, things that are, hey, we're strong and we get by because that's who we are, even when it's, you know, we down in the dumps or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, I think in the bridge he probably adds like the most substance to the song. You know, he's talking about getting a job in the high rise, you can vacation in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
You know, y'all too worried about money so you can get just a little bit of the good life. You know, and there's winners and there's losers. Yeah, and that's cool as long as the government doesn't choose who they are.
Right. But the simple people are the ones that do the things. Get shit
But the
done.
simple man's the one that pays the thrills, the bills, and the pills. Okay, first off,
What the hell does any of that mean?
what it means is he's trying to say that the simple man's the one who carries it all on his back. He's the backbone of society.
Oh, okay.
However, if you were to actually go through, like, say, the tax base for support all the programs that I'm sure this fucking shill wants in place, it's 100% not carried on the backs of those people.
Right.
Unfortunately, those people tend to be expendable for a reason.
Well, if you're trying to make sure that you can get your little bit of the world to keep going, then you really don't have enough money to throw at anything else for anybody else.
I was actually just have a conversation. I'm sure if I looked at my Facebook post right now, I'd see a comment about it. You know, somebody was talking about wealth inequality, and I think they were trying to say it's not a problem, and then somebody else like, oh no, it's a problem. But I'm like, no, it's a symptom. The problem is government interference in the market.
Yeah.
Picking those winners and losers like he failed to recognize in the song. Government interference causes wealth inequality. It's what makes wealth go up as opposed to diaspora. So, yeah, no, I stand by it. He's a fucking pinko commie shill. Fuck him.
All right, that's fine. I'll
This song
concede.
Bob Dylan is shit.
I'll concede.
We haven't had a good Bob Dylan song in a while, so I'm glad you brought it.
There you go.
All right. So what do we got next?
Oh, you know what's next.
I do.
Yeah.
Welcome to I Heard This Happen, the segment for aging hipsters. Each week we scour Bandcamp for underground new releases to wow your teenage children. So without further ado, here's new music. So what do we got this week and I Heard This Happen, Liz?
Well, I have the jazziest of jazz
Oh, do you?
because I was in the mood for something oh so smooth.
Oh, so smooth.
Yeah, the record is called Rise and Fall, and the artist, I'm gonna try not to completely ruin his name, is Maarten Hogenhuis, I think. He's from the Netherlands, so But yeah, it is saxophone, double bass, and drum, and it is just very smooth, very cool, very let's sip a martini in a hot tub at night kind of music.
A hot tub?
Yep.
What, do you find yourself a wet bar?
I don't know, maybe. It would not be amiss beside a wet bar. Let me just say it that way. Yeah, I mean, it's a full album. It's awesome jazz. I am not a music theory person, so I could not really describe it other than it's super smooth, and there's a lot of grooves going on there.
I like grooves.
Yeah, layers and layers of saxophone and bass.
I don't think there's ever enough layers of saxophone, though.
I mean, yeah, those are, it's got all the stuff, all the good stuff that you want out of a saxophone album, really.
Okay, I'll have to give it a listen. I do like me some saxophone.
What do you got?
So, this week I have Happy to Be Here by Barrie out of New York. New York. It's up to you, New York. New dun 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 dun. So it's a 10-track dream pop album that came out on the 3rd. It kind of reminds me of like a downtempo Foster the People or a female-fronted Starfucker.
Okay, I can dig that.
That's kind of how I'm thinking about it. My favorite songs were Geology and Hutch. Hutch is the final track on the album. It's, oh God, I've been listening to it all morning today, in fact. It's going to go good with some sunshine. Hopefully it stays a nice day.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Erma loved the record. Apparently every time I turned around, she was dancing and wiggling around to it. She does like this little side-to-side two-step thing that's funny. The album has an ethereal vibe that still manages to drive solid and steady. Easily the catchiest thing I've listened to in ages as well.
Oh yeah, I did hear some touches of that. And
sonically, the thing's magnificent. It holds a vibe and punctuates it with little bits of interest here and there. Like no instrument takes center stage, but the melodies are so infectious, and you kind of never lose track of the melodies, even though like they're not really like not prominent. Like everyone, I think I hate vocals being too front and center in a mix personally.
Yeah, and
everybody does it. So that's Happy to Be Here by Barrie. I loved it. I'm
nice.
glad to have found it.
Cool.
I'm sure they're commie trash too, but
I mean,
the album cover is pink, so there's that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, well, that's I Heard This Happen. Hey, how's it going? Nicky P here. Want to support the show or just give a big middle finger to Patreon? Consider stopping over to supportSLL.com. Members of the Freedom Choir get access to the private Facebook group and actual physical merch. Want access to the unedited raw interviews as they're recorded way before they're released? It's in there. Is that not enough? And you want membership to Freedom Song 365? It's in there. There's even monthly bonus swag for top tier supporters. So head on over to supportSLL.com. Help Liz and I get to libertarian functions and even just cover the costs of making the show. If I'm not a good enough salesman, how about this?
Support my mom and dad and Sounds Like Liberty. Go to supportsll.com.
You heard her, folks. Join the Freedom Choir at supportsll.com. So, what are you thinking, babe? You excited to get into this here interview?
I am. It was really awesome just getting to talk to these guys, and it's a really, really fun album. So I'm excited that people can get all fired up to pick it up.
How many bands do you know that are based off of like legislation that involves the Federal Reserve?
There is that.
We actually just did put out a couple days ago the write-up on the song Here It Comes off the album for the Freedom Song 365 project, and it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're missing out on the Freedom Song 365 project, you're missing out. We're about a third of the way through it. There is currently over 110 songs, I think, in the archive.
And just a wealth of information on each of them.
I mean,
just
I think
beautifully laid out.
Yeah, I mean, beautifully laid out might be a stretch.
Well, I like
Adobe
it.
Spark is the shit, but
okay.
But no, we've written. I think we're pushing like 50,000 words between the three of us.
It's a
on the
lot
topic.
of work that's gone into it, and
It has.
yeah, I think it's
It's killing
coming
my
out to be
life.
something amazing, though.
I hope so. I think the people that are in there are enjoying it, so there's that.
Definitely.
Anyways, if you're interested, freedomsong365.com can sign up and become part of that little community, and we can talk about songs all the time. Anything else we got to add for today before we get into this interview?
Boy, howdy.
No.
No, I don't. I think Freedom Song. Check out the website. Find us on Facebook. And yeah, we're stoked about Porkfest
Oh, we are still stoked about Porkfest.
happening.
I'm stoked about a lot of things personally. All right, folks, without further ado, let's get into this here interview with Kelly Conley and Cole Humphreys of Owen Glass. Sir, is there two of you today?
Yes, sir. I got Mr. Cole Humphrey here in the flesh
Oh, sweet.
on guitars.
Which kind of guitars?
He plays all the electric on the album. Telecaster, PRS.
Oh, fancy.
Mhm.
PRS guy. Means he's got money, Liz.
Oh, okay, you say so.
That's the spiteful voice right there.
Well, I will admit that I was just listening to the record with Nicky, and it sounded like $1 million. So there's that.
Awesome.
Did it?
I thought it was really pretty.
Well, we'll get to all that. So, anyways, welcome to the Sounds Like Liberty podcast, guys. How are we doing today?
Doing great. Appreciate you having us.
Are we
Doing excellent.
we excited to talk about music?
We like that. Yeah, we love it.
I like talking about music. Talking about politics is kind of a crapshoot. Usually just makes me angry.
Usually
Yeah,
you just
never
pick fights
ends
with people.
I mean, you guys went and apparently made a record that's all politics. But the thing I like most about it is, let's just say, libertarian music, when it happens, has a tendency to sound very, very one-dimensional and kind of like, I don't know, somewhere.
Like I hit you over the head.
Well, not even that. It's the fact that it all kind of sounds like Toby Keith and Bob Dylan had an amateur hour and like just do some shit together. Am I throwing punches out there too wide right now?
Yeah, we know you have a tendency to start beef, man. We're not trying to do that.
No, there's no beef here. What I'm really getting at is now where everybody does, especially in this movement, tends to focus on like the folk music, and I think that's part of the whole mythos of like libertarianism in general. You guys come with something that's like very, very credible as far as like an indie record goes. Like the first thing I thought about was like, oh my god, this is something I'd actually listen to. Like this would be something that I would gravitate towards musically. It had some like moments where it was almost like in excess in there, even though like it is still primarily like an acoustic-y kind of vibe that I get from it. But you definitely weren't eschewing like a more modern electronic sound, which I appreciated.
Right, yeah. And I don't know. I think we approached it a little bit differently too than a lot of people you'd call libertarian artists. I mean, the goal wasn't set out and make the next big ANCAP record. It was I write the songs, and these are the things that I think about and things I write about. So it just kind of happened that way, And so when I wrote some of my goals and our goals in the arrangements was just to create a lot of space for everybody. And we just have an awesome team. Cole's an awesome guitar player, and the record just came together so organically. It's because this is we're 7-piece, right? Yeah, and never played together before, and then in 6 days did the whole album, and it was
Wow.
There was never a hang up, or it was just everything just clicked, and it just felt really organic. It was pretty unbelievable, honestly. It blew my expectations out of the water.
I mean, I've
For sure.
made records myself that don't go that smoothly, so.
Yeah, it was every day we were nonstop on it, but 6 days did the whole thing. Yeah. It was
I mean,
just everybody's personality works together really well.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's like, well,
was
I met Anthony for the first time, and it's like, all right, now play saxophone on
let's
this
go
song.
on.
Now, like, let's go make an album.
okay, well, so you're talking about like you got a full 7-piece band to make this thing. Is it a situation where like all the guys you got together are kind of in this political realm, or just these are people you got to play on it, and you know it has your politics just because it happens to be you're the guy that's there?
Yeah, I think the latter. Like we all, so how everybody comes together, it's really they're all friends with me from different stages in my life. Like Cole and I started playing together when we were kids. My brother plays keys on the record, so we've obviously known each other forever. And Anthony, we jammed together a couple times in college. Eric was after college, and so
Anthony's the saxophone player, and then Eric's violin.
Yeah. So it was just like, you know, Cole and I were kind of working on this thing in the background, and then one night I reached out to everybody that I thought would be the best for that part, and everybody jumped on board. So I guess I was kind of a conduit to the whole thing.
Because I mean, I guess throughout the band, there's not everybody's on the exact same political page.
Yeah, I think everybody's mostly more apolitical than anything.
Right. Yeah,
it just happens that my songwriting, you know.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, how many of them are ANCAPs now?
Right. Yeah. Good question.
So,
and like you said, it's more fun to talk about music than politics, and that's kind of how we do it together too.
Right.
Everybody's got, you know, that same basic instinct. You know, they would certainly agree on the main points. And Craig is definitely an ANCAP.
Well, and it's entertaining because I mean, it's not like you even it's not like the record itself soft soaps the entire idea. I mean, literally, you have songs to General Butler, literally spelling it out there. You're not beating around the bush.
Yeah. I think there's we're trying to approach it in a way like we're leaving some breadcrumbs to the ideas versus beating.
Yeah, because I definitely think it's palpable to people who may not be even aware of this ideology at all. But some of it's real explicit, but then some of it I think is covert enough that you can just enjoy it for the music by its own, you know.
Well, I personally am of a mind that even if you do beat them over the head with the message, as long as the song is good, does it really matter?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like, there's some real jingoistic Toby Keith shit that I know is popular because it's popular music. Like, it sounds good.
Right.
Now, granted, I may not agree with his dumb
melody.
Yeah.
I may not agree with his dumb politics, but
well, I mean, even from doing what do you call it, analysis of songs, there's some songs that we just really like the song, but if you really analyze the lyrics, you're like, that's maybe not the message that I love, but the song's awesome.
Right.
Well, and because I have a project that I've been working on with my buddy Luke Tatum and Sherry Voluntary. So I'm literally just knee deep, balls deep immersed in this whole, like, looking at the lyrical content and libertarian messaging in music. And what's really funny is that, like, there's a lot of mainstream pop music even that's had very, very libertarian themes. Like, literally, we started out the Freedom Song 365 project looking at the messaging in Silent Running by Mike and the Mechanics, which was like a number 3 on the Billboard charts.
Right.
And, like, literally with the verse 2, I think, begins with the husband telling the wife to grab the gun in the chest by the door and don't believe anything the church and state tell you. And
damn.
Like, it's super, super intense. And you're like, holy, this was number 3 on Billboard?
Yeah, how did
snuck that in there somehow?
Yeah.
It was... But, you know, like every day we send out a new song that looks at libertarian themes in music, and then me and Liz look at, like, songs on the show. And there's a lot of it out there in music, and some of it is, like I said, even that's pretty overt, like, being out there messaging-wise. But, like, it's a great song. I'd never had any idea that message was even in there. Right. You know, maybe that's how people turn out like I turned out, I guess. Technically, I'm a lefty.
Yeah.
So
that's a good...
All right. Now, this is always a little bit more complicated when I've got 2 people because the questions are content to go long. So we're going to try and be concise today.
We'll just roll with it.
Sure, yeah.
what kind of music do you guys tend to gravitate towards?
I'll let you take that, Cole.
Just like what I like to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kind of the generic answer. I listen to a lot of different stuff, but psychedelic rock, jam bands. Lately, I've been getting into musicals, just super weird.
Wait, what musicals specifically? You have to define that.
So, specifically, Phantom of the Opera right now.
Oh, right on.
That's an okay one to be into.
Yeah, the melodies just gets caught in my head. It's kind of a curse.
I mean, I do want to point out that Andrew Lloyd Webber did rip off Pink Floyd, but we're not going there.
Well, but I mean, he said he was in
like
psychedelic rock. Yeah, so it kind of one links to the other.
Like that dun 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 is absolutely rip. And I went through and I did the years, and the Pink Floyd definitely released it first. So
yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, that like I listen to singer-songwriter stuff. I kind of got into trance for a little bit, like electronic music. Just I don't know. I get tired of one thing to switch to something else.
I mean,
basically.
Based on the picture that you have on your Skype, I would totally agree. Somebody's listening to trance music.
Yeah, it was a short period.
You're in good company. My daughter is definitely going to be an EDM kid. I played a lot of Goldfish when she was in the womb, and now all she wants to listen to is dance music. I can't wait till she's old enough to take to the Electric Daisy Carnival.
Oh yeah.
Is 15 too young for that?
I don't know.
Maybe 12.
Depends on how close you're watching her.
I guess that is.
That's
So,
right.
all right. One of my favorite questions to ask guests.
Wait. We gotta get the other guy in there.
The other guy sounded like he was trying to throw the ball. He can answer if he'd like.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I want nothing to do with this.
I needed something to play off of. And
Okay.
I don't know if I got it. I'm not so into music.
Phantom of the Opera didn't do that for you.
Do it for me. But no, yeah, this is Kelly. So I'm a huge Wilco fan.
Oh,
You
nice.
might notice that sort of in the arrangements. I'll
What's your favorite Wilco album?
That is an impossible question.
That's not an impossible question.
A Ghost is Born. I love. I think the dynamics on that record are amazing. That's actually the album I sent to my mastering engineer, Evan Bradford, as an example of kind of how we wanted to approach it sonically.
That's that is probably, that opening song is one of the most dynamic recordings. Like,
Yes.
because it forces you to crank your stereo to get that vocal on the beginning of it. So when the rest of it kicks in, you're just getting punched in the ears by the guitar, and I love it.
Blows your hair back.
Oh my god!
We actually tried to kind of mimic that in the Hammer and Sickle track. So at the beginning, it opens with a Mises monologue. And I started that really quiet on purpose to kind of do the same thing. It's at that midway point in the album where, you might have, your mind might be wandering or something. So it kind of makes you tune in and actually turn your dial up.
That's where traditionally you'd split the record in half, and that's where you flip it, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, excellently said.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Wilco and Portugal the Man. I think we're all fans of definitely the older stuff. They've kind of gone in a very pop direction since they've gotten signed. But their first several albums, I think, were just incredible.
Well, Liz and I were talking about them. It's funny that it's like, so there's a band from Alaska, and as opposed to picking a name that's going to sell, they go way the other way and pick like the dumbest name ever.
Oh, I know.
Like as if you weren't making it hard enough on yourselves.
Yep. Yeah, I saw an interview with them where they were like, we really regret that. And mostly like the punctuation.
The period. It's the period
Portugal,
after Portugal.
man.
It's like,
it's called
everything I've heard, it just gave them hell.
I can only imagine.
You're not supposed to have a period in your name.
So I heard that, so I decided we should put a dash in the middle of ours.
There you go.
We don't have enough problems.
Oh man, but yeah, no, I don't dislike the more pop fare that they're doing now. Like it's definitely catchy. It does what it needs to do, and I'm always happy to see artists going out and actually making money, because it's not the most easy of industries to do that in. But yeah, we can always respect when they come from something worthwhile.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out that Liz is kind of over here getting a little verklempt. She hears the accents, and it's doing something for her.
The accents? Their accents?
Come on, you can hear that
What are
baritone
you
crack
talking
in there.
about? What accent?
Oh, the southern drawl. Right on.
They were doing their best to cover it up, but I could hear it sneaking through. I'm just saying.
Right on.
Anyways, so here's the thing. Music is super important to me, and I have a million answers to this question. I actually had a guest the other day that I was confused. Didn't have an actual musician who couldn't answer this question, and I was confused by it. Are there any moments that you think back on that are just inextricably linked to a song or an album or type of music that you can remember?
Oh, I mean, that's kind of a big question. Like I said, a million answers.
If you want,
Yep.
the simple one I always tell is like, what was the song you got laid to the first time?
Is it more of a Barry White situation or like a Little John situation?
Well, I mean, you hope if you're setting it up right, it
I
is.
think it was Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, that's a little weird, honestly.
That's an interesting first time. I'll say that.
That's an
I
approach.
like that so much.
You wore that mask for like a year.
Look at me.
Oh God.
Don't look at me. But no, I mean,
Sing
music's
my
tied so
angel.
closely to memory. Like, it's like certain smells, you know, like you smell your grandmother's cooking and it takes
Yeah.
you back to when
Yeah.
you're like 6. Like, I can remember on road trips having my CD player and just like jamming the Beatles and like sometimes listening to their songs that take me back to being in the car at that time and just, I don't know, there's a lot of power in music.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, to give you a specific answer, for me, like Tom Petty is one of my all-time favorites for sure. So I remember every time I hear the song "Into the Great Wide Open," I can picture myself in the passenger seat of like my dad's truck,
Right.
out feeding cows.
Right. Yeah.
Aw.
I would always ride with him out there and check on cows, and we listened to that Tom Petty's greatest hits record probably 100 times.
It
but-
just got real authentic. I'm just saying.
Right?
Feeding the cows, listening to Tom Petty.
It's like, yeah, that's right. I'm an actual cowboy. Whatever.
Well, you notice the accent, so my cover's blown.
Hey, cows gotta eat. They gotta eat.
Oh, I grew up in the country myself, so I was never a farmer. I do have plenty of friends that were into that whole thing. My dad actually grew up with cattle and shit like that, so I'm not terribly removed from that world. I always joke with people like my high school, we had 86 kids in my graduating class and took an hour to get across the district, and there were definitely more cows than people in that district.
Yep. Sounds very familiar.
Super relatable. Yeah. That's
So that's a good song too.
Yeah.
Not my favorite Petty song, but it's a good song.
I agree. Yeah, I think he's one of those, like, I mean, he gets his due, but I don't know if as a songwriter if he necessarily gets his due. Like, there's a good documentary about him on Amazon right now, and he talks about. It talked to some of the people in the studio too when they were making. I don't remember what record it was at the moment, but they talked about he would bring songs in, and if they were too complicated, then he would pull them back and say this one's not ready. Like, part of his approach was make it simple and create space.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really mature way to look at it, instead of trying to write the most complex, crazy song.
It allows the musicians around you to fill out their place in it instead of handing them a cookie cutter. Here's your part.
Yeah, which is interesting because I mean he was a guy who worked closely with Jeff Lynne for years, and you know Jeff wrote songs the way he wrote songs. So
Right.
I actually had someone I was on one of the message boards, and somebody was asked, "Hey, do you think there's a market for an ELO tribute?" And somebody said they didn't have enough hits. And, and to which I'm like, ooh, ELO didn't have hits? Like, and if we
You just don't know who they are.
well, and if we extend this to just Jeff Lynne, like, I mean, how many bands was he writing for back in the day? Like George Harrison, the Traveling Wilburys, ELO, Paul McCartney. Like, he was writing with everybody. It's like,
They're all pretty obscure, though, you know.
I know at least one. I know he was
Harrison?
Cloud 9. Yeah, good record. So, what are you thinking, Liz? Where we at on this adventure?
We could do live music since there's some actual musicians on the show there.
Yeah, I'm always excited when they say they have a favorite show they've performed as opposed to seen. But do you guys have a favorite concert you've been to or one that you've performed?
Lots of those. Yeah.
I actually haven't been to a lot myself because I grew up fucking dirt poor and too far away from a city. It was always cost prohibitive.
I kind of relate to that, like 100%. But probably the best concert I've ever seen, which I'm real big into Fish and I like them, but seeing Wilco in Dallas was...
They're a really good concert. I
couldn't believe it. It blew me away.
I caught them, honestly, before they blew up back in 2007. And it was I think the first leg of the Sky Blue Sky tour. And so like they were they just had those car commercials come out with them on it. And so they hadn't quite picked up steam. Like literally, they sold, like the next time they came around, they sold out within seconds because like they got so big so fast at that moment. Because they were a band that had been working for years and just kind of were an underground indie thing. And when they blew up, they fucking blew up.
Oh yeah.
But I saw them in like this this college gymnasium with a couple thousand people. Like it was not a big thing at all, and they were just unbelievable. My drummer for my one band gets pissed at me every time. I'm like, oh man, Wilco was so good live because he didn't get to fucking go. Just rub it in whenever I can.
I'll help pile it on. So like we're talking about these Wilco shows. It's funny. In the run up to the first pre-production session to make our album, I met with David, who plays bass on the record. He's a producer. He was living in Nashville at the time, and I was living in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's the reason for the hipster glasses. I was at the U of A. You have to wear them. It's part of your admission packet, but
the uniform.
Yeah, it's part of the uniform. But the week before that, I actually followed Wilco from I saw him in Kansas City, and then in Tulsa, and then I drove to Memphis. And so the night before David and I met up to start pre-production, I saw Wilco solo. I sat in the middle of the Orpheum Theater there in Memphis. So I would have to say that's probably my favorite experience, just because everything was happening at once. You know, it was really exciting. And it was there was some kind of synchronicity to the date being there. Wilco made their first record in Memphis, just down the street from where I was seeing them the day before we started work on this one. So it's pretty sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
stars aligning.
Yeah.
Well, here's what's funny. This is going to be a natural question for me to have to ask, but I mean, how does it feel like looking up to a band like Wilco and just knowing politically where Jeff is?
Disappointing.
Yeah.
It is disappointing.
The way I always like try to separate the art from the artist.
You have to.
You know, but it's, yeah, you can't do that cleanly, you know, like at some point you're
going to alienate somebody.
Yeah, I guess so. So, yeah, it's a little disappointing, but.
Yeah, I guess the most disappointing part of it, though, is when you analyze some of the songs, some of the lyrics, there are some good ideas in there.
Right.
Then you hear that and you just wonder, does he not actually feel that way? Did he not know what he was saying, or am I the stupid one?
Must have been the smack talking then.
It must have. Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, it's Jeff. It's not like he's been quiet about that problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So, all right. You how about on the other side? You got one there, boss?
Oh, favorite concert? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I said like the Wilco show was the best concert I've ever been to.
So same answer, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So Wilco on both sides. That's what my notes said.
They're a hell of a show.
There.
Yeah, well, the stage setup too. It was like they had like these fake trees set up, and then like a skyline behind it that looked just like the night sky.
Aww.
And then as the night went on, it kind of changed, and by the end of it, it was just like psychedelic, weird, fractal patterns. But it was just really unbelievable.
Cool.
And I actually remember during Art of Almost, Nels Cline, during like it was his time to do the solo, and like his equipment fucked up, and like he wasn't getting sound out of his guitar, and like you could tell he was getting pissed, and like instantly a guy runs out and like hands him a different guitar, and as soon as he grabbed it and started playing, you could tell like he was pissed off and he let it out in the solo, and I was like, oh my god, this is
I don't think Nels,
unbelievable.
I don't think Nels has the ability to keep that in. Like that's what he's such a funny guy, especially in the context of that band, because I mean he's a free jazz guitar player outside of that, and is very just, frankly, pretty damn artsy fartsy.
Super avant-garde.
But then you put him in, you put him in Wilco, and it fits like a glove. It
makes perfect sense.
It does.
Yeah.
It works so well. Like I've definitely made memories to what do you call it there? Impossible Germany with Liz.
Oh yeah, it's one of just the greatest solos ever.
It's captured so beautifully. Like, when I say like a favorite Wilco record, it's always going to be Sky Blue Sky for me, only because while I love the music, and honestly, I perhaps like the music more on A Ghost Is Born, the recording that they did for fucking Sky Blue Sky, like the production on it is so unparalleled. Like the sound they captured on it.
Perfect hi-fi.
It just feels really real and just.
Well, it doesn't. There's at no point does it sound thin. It's just super rich, and it holds you. Like you're not. It could have easily come out back in the 70s, and it has that sound, but it doesn't have.
It doesn't feel like over processed, and
it still doesn't have the limitations that music though is either. Like it's super weird but awesome.
Yes.
Wasn't that the first record that Nels played on?
I believe it was.
Yeah. It changed the whole dynamic. It was awesome. It was after Yankee Hotel. Yeah. I love that record.
Yeah.
I might change my answer from A Ghost Is Born.
That's okay.
No, it's good. I'll hold mine.
I'm going to stick with Phantom of the Opera. That's
All right, Liz. What are you up to? What's the next thing we got? Oh, I got one. So, obviously, a lot of stuff has changed over the past couple of years. Like I know I've gotten super into podcasts and then got into podcasting. The way that people relate to music has definitely been an evolving dynamic. So how does music fit into your life as both a musician and like a person in the modern world? Like podcasts kind of crowded out a lot of my music listening. I have to kind of fight to keep it there because I know I need to.
right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think we actually both spend a lot of time on the road with our day jobs. And so we both audio books and podcasts.
Yeah, I have to break it up. It's just, I'll get in the mood, it'll be podcasts all day, and then tomorrow it might be just like on Spotify all day. It's just.
Yeah, I think too, that's sort of dialed back my rate of music discovery. I don't find new artists nearly as often anymore. In the early days of Pandora, like I was screenshotting every cool song I heard, going out and checking it out. But it's quite a bit different now. And then you have Spotify where you just go to the artist. You don't necessarily even get the mix unless you stay on that channel forever. But.
Yeah. Well, there is the Discover Weekly thing that Spotify does that has actually helped me find new bands. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, what you need to be doing is just listening to Sounds Like Liberty, where we give you a new kick-ass band every week.
Exactly.
Me and Liz do the legwork for you and scour Bandcamp for something worth listening to.
That's it. Yeah, and on Song 365, y'all are doing an awesome job, by the way. I get those emails.
Nice. I have fun with it. Like I said, it's fun to look at music deeper than that. And I'm going to position myself as the libertarian music guy, not necessarily as a performer, but as the guy that knows everything about it.
Yeah, there you go.
How useful that may be, I don't know. I actually,
all four of us are gonna love that.
I was talking to Roger Paxton, and I'm actually planning on kind of combining my one side hustle as a performing musician, and I'm gonna take the Freedom Song 365 project and make a performance part of it, where I actually am putting together kind of like a best of those songs that we talk about and doing a spoken word musical thing for it.
Sweet.
So hopefully I can start getting that out, and maybe I'll hit some conventions or something. Anybody who wants me to come to a convention and play some music and talk about it, hit me up.
Well, okay. Things I learned on this podcast. Interesting.
I mean, we talked about this yesterday, so I mean, it's not really news, but whatever, honey, that's fine. You how much you pay attention to me. Literally, if I don't say it on the show, it doesn't exist, I guess.
That's part of the reason we do the show.
And no, there is the part that's like, hey, I need an excuse to hang out with my wife, so we do this. Okay. Are you keeping track, Liz?
Yeah, I think it might be time.
Is it time? Oh.
Well, yeah, we might as well go for it because we've got like 2 whole top 5 lists.
I know.
To get going.
Right.
I'm really excited
and
about
I
it.
demand that you do this separately. That's why this gets long.
Okay.
All right. If you have 5 records that everyone should go out and listen to right now, what would they be and why? Doesn't have to be your favorites, mind you. Just as of this moment, what would you tell people to go out and get?
Like, you need to have this in your life.
Oh my God. 5?
5. Or they can be Spotify playlists
and as I said, this changes for me. It'll be 5 minutes from now. It'll be completely different than what I'd say right now. That's completely okay. In fact, that only incentivizes having you on again. What are your 5 records that day?
So, God, 5's going to be tough. Well, first one would be Sturgill Simpson's A Sailor's Guide to Earth.
Oh, jeez.
That's the second one, right?
Yeah, and that album pretty much, that might be the third. It's the third, actually. Yes, the third. It's the one he wrote for his son. It's kind of like a life lesson guide for his kid, basically. And it's just some of the most real, genuine, just, there's no pretentiousness about it. It just feels like he's speaking from his soul. And that album, it like got me back into listening to full albums just because it was so good.
I mean, he's not Wheeler, but it's pretty good.
I really like Sturgill, frankly.
You don't, or you?
Oh
do?
No, I do. I think
you do. Yeah,
his arrangements
album,
are really interesting.
Like the earlier stuff, I liked okay, but this he kind of leaned into. I feel like his style more. It wasn't just like alt country or whatever you'd call it.
But his story in general was super interesting and how he got to be a musician anyways.
Yeah, he's pretty much my hero right now. Like that guy is, to me, he's just the real deal. Just not really compromising his music for anything, and it's just like I said, just genuine's the best word.
Just working on them trains.
Working on them trains.
Just a yard man.
So there's one.
Okay.
4 more to go. Well, have I mentioned the Phantom of the Opera?
You did mention the Phantom of the Opera. We're just throwing that on there.
I did.
Which disc and which performance?
So originally it was the original movie soundtrack, which is not.
I mean,
I've been enlightened to.
Yeah, Jerry's not the same as the guy who played the guy in Broadway there.
I didn't know any better.
It's okay. It's okay. I was right there with you.
You're talking about this. I want to say in elementary school, I was probably like maybe 10 or 11 years old. We actually took a trip up to Toronto, a field trip in school. Oh. And I got to watch the Phantom of the Opera live.
I see.
In the Pantages Theater. Or is that the one that's up there? I don't think that is that, but it's I saw it live and in a theater by the actual Broadway cast.
Yeah, because I know the Canadian cast, that was like who it was all written for and everything.
Yeah.
Colm Wilkinson, I think. Anyway, he's like the original Phantom, man. Our violin player Eric 2 weeks ago was like, dude, get off the movie soundtrack. Go listen to this.
Oh no, dude, and it's
yeah,
way
world's better. It's true.
Yeah, but definitely.
I don't know that I've ever. I've seen the movie. I don't know that I ever really paid much attention to it, honestly, because it was just having seen it live. It's very underwhelming.
Mess.
Yeah, the movie is kind of camp in comparison.
It's all over the place.
Yeah,
it's super super campy. That's kind of the charm of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was one of my guilty pleasures for a very long time.
You know what we should do? We should have John Waters direct a version of it.
Oh, God. That would be amazing.
It'll be like Crybaby, the Phantom, mashed together.
I love it.
only if you do it in 3D.
3D? Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Sorry, I get sidetracked easily.
No, you're good. I love it. So the question, though, is 5 albums that
you just recommend people go
other people should listen to?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely still say the Sturgill Simpson one because it's so good.
For sure.
If you don't like it, then just fuck off, I guess.
That's all right. That's how we do.
It's a loaded question. That's hard. Because it's like as soon as you ask now, it's like I can't think of anything.
Yeah. Well, do you want to have Kelly jump in there for a sec, and you can think some more?
I would love that.
Sure. Well, I will say that I'd already written down Sturgill Simpson as well.
Oh.
What else you got written down?
Right?
That's two people telling you.
Got off me. Yeah, that's carries double weight.
You're supposed to block your paper with your hand so you can't see your.
Yeah, totally. Over there. Yeah, I guess one that would be probably a lot of people have heard it, but if you haven't heard Led Zeppelin 1,
oh nice,
then you better get on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Zeppelin record you're gonna go with, huh? Okay.
Just because that's the gateway drug to Zeppelin.
Okay.
See,
Start there. Yeah, I'm just showing you the door here, folks.
Right.
I say Houses of the Holy here.
Well, you know what? I'll try it because I've listened to some Zeppelin, but not that one. So maybe like that would actually get me into Zeppelin. I mean,
based on
know.
your musical tastes, probably not.
No, you're like no, it's not gonna know.
No, it's definitely more of a rock record.
Okay, fair enough.
You'd probably like him more towards like, I don't know. You'd get into like Rain Song and stuff like that.
Probably
not then. It's good. It's a good record though. It is.
All right, so Zeppelin 1,
especially if you like old-fashioned blues cover bands.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Was that a backwards dig? Was that what that was?
Look, I have all kinds of complex feelings about Led Zeppelin. Most notably that I think the guy that's the most important member of that band gets shafted in history, even though he's the only one to have like had an actual record released in the past decade that was any good, and that's John Paul Jones.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, he wrote so much of the best material they did. And then he did Them Crooked Vultures. And what did I get from fucking Plant in the 2000s other than him working with Alison Krauss and like...
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That's worth mentioning.
I think, honestly, the only thing... I think my favorite part of the that whole deal is... Page and Plant doing the Honey Drippers, which is way better music to me. Which is just
Zeppelin just with the time that they were around, like it's just like that band today. I don't think makes a wave. I mean, I guess Greta Van Fleet.
I was gonna say, I mean, they seem to be doing just fine as Greta Van Fleet. And that you believe that dude has the balls to come out and say, I really am sick of people comparing us to Zeppelin. I'm like, well, then why did you go out and do everything you could to look and sound like Led Zeppelin?
Didn't he say that he hadn't even listened to him or something until
okay. He's full of shit. Like, there's no fucking way.
I know. I'm like, dude, you sound exactly like it. This is...
You're dressed like Robert Plant. I'm sure he had that exact ensemble back in the 70s. Like, what are you trying to fool here? You're full of shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I did one album. The next four, let's see. I'll defer to Kelly Wine here. What you got written down over there?
Well, we have to say Sky Blue Sky will go.
Okay.
Given the last.
It's a good gateway.
Conversation.
It's a good gateway for sure.
Yeah. But since we've already talked about that one, I'll also say I'm a big fan of the self-titled debut of From Broken Bells.
Interesting.
I feel like that's a solid album all the way through. And
I'm gonna be honest. The Owen Glass album actually makes a little bit more sense now that you say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually
I mean, James Mercer's a pretty big influence on me.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have thought of them until you said it, but now I'm like, oh, okay. I think I get that. That kind of pulls things together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that made it click better for me. That's right. That's good. Say some more stuff, Kevin. Now, I guess I'm hung up on recommending for other people to listen to. It's just like, fuck other people. But
well, here's the thing. Like, I guess the way that I look at it is, this is a way you can connect with me because this is a personal music, and maybe it's not going to be personal to everyone, but it's something that can give an insight to the the person
this
you
is
are.
something I really like and means a lot to me. Here's a way to connect. Listen to this, and if you connect to it, then you're okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, we're under the same stars or something,
Right. What? So let's see. Like, and what's popping in my head is like a Neutral Milk Hotel in the aeroplane over the sea. Like that's always been a really huge album for me. Like I was listening to that in like 8th grade, and till now I'll just turn it on and listen to the whole thing.
I might have been listening to that in college. You listen to all the shit I listened to in college for the record. So.
Like that album is one of the, like the whole album stands alone together. It's like something I can listen to all of it, you know.
And they're not a group you hear about all the time, like they.
No, they're really not. It's a weird ass name too.
Yeah,
I've never quite got it.
The album's like about Anne Frank. It's super.
Yeah. Oh God.
Super weird, but it's. I love it.
Just for the record, Liz, you would like Neutral Milk Hotel.
Oh, I have no doubt. I mean, I just heard the name and I'm like, it sounds like one of those sad indie bands that I like. Yeah.
You need to go listen to them. It's really.
I don't know if sad is the word.
No.
But they're definitely an indie band.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's some eeriness to it.
Ooh, Erie's even better.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. I fucking love it. Go listen to it.
All right, where are we at?
All right.
Nice. I've got at least like 5 songs on one side. I've got Sturgill Simpson and the Phantom of the Opera on the other side.
There's a little bit of diversity there.
I would add Portugal the Man, Censored Colors
Okay.
to the list.
Nice.
That was their record where John really took a chord-based songwriting approach for the first time, and it's very Beatles. It's very, but not a ripoff. You know, it's still very original. That's been a huge album in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, all of Portugal's work was like Satanic Satanist was. I got that the day it came out, and that was my introduction to the band. And that album that's another one that's like every song is just, I can listen to the whole thing through. It's that good.
Well, that's one you should look at for song 365 is watch the music video for People Say by Portugal the Man.
Yeah, that excellent one.
Message me that so I remember it, because I won't be able to read Liz's handwriting. But no, dude, I'm all about that. It's the thing about what's really funny about Portugal the Man is because I used to listen to him, and then all of a sudden, like I saw the Feel It Still video, and was like really, really confused because it was so not what I remembered Portugal the Man sounding like, and I knew there was no way in hell that 2 bands named Portugal the Man. It's just that's not possible. So,
damn it, the name's taken.
Something happened.
Right.
Let's just jump onto their marketing. I have definitely taken some other band's name because I knew we were a better band, and I didn't give a shit.
They don't deserve it.
Like, look, they've only got 20 fans on Facebook. I don't care.
That's
We're way
awful.
better. So, before we let you go, why don't you guys tell us a little bit kind of about your personable place on this record, and kind of give the pitch to it, and why people need to run out and get it, other than it just kicks ass and I say so. I think that should be enough, but they may want more.
I don't know. I'm really proud of it. Like I said earlier, it just came together so organically. It just everything clicked. I'm just super proud of the album. Just my parts, everybody else's parts. Everybody kind of rose to the occasion. But I think it does, it does have some very explicit libertarian lyrics and ideas, and some are more covert. But ultimately, beyond that, I think it's just musically, it's just a really good record, and that's why I'd recommend it to anybody. It's like I think there's something for everyone in there a little bit.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that at all. So, any things you want to finish up with here, Liz?
Well, no, I'd just like to get the actual, some addresses out there in case people want to look up your stuff and find it. And
stuff.
Yeah, and I know your record's not coming out officially for a little while, but. Sure,
yeah. And just to piggyback on what Cole said, as a short pitch on that, like
hop on, let's piggyback.
There's some more nuance to that album. Like we kind of wove the songs together. We had a session together after we we got the roughs back and talked about how to weave this concept together. And so there's a thing that's happening in there that really is about my own personal evolution and being exposed to certain ideas, about liberty and eventually becoming an anarchist. That's what the last song on the record's about. And there's some spiritual themes in there too, because I think there's a lot of that in libertarianism that probably gets overlooked. But it's very personal to me. I mentioned we released a video yesterday that we actually recorded last weekend, doing an acoustic version of the song "Devil Don't Mind." That's the third song on the record, but that was the only song I was ever able to play for my great grandfather. He was a big influence on me. Our family's very musical, and that really came out of his blood. And so it's the only one I was ever able to play for him before he passed away. And he said that it was inspired. I mean, he liked it, which meant a lot to me. So we actually circled up into that video just right next to where he's buried in that cemetery, in this old building.
I love cemetery recordings, for the record.
Yeah, well, gotta check it out. We put it out yesterday, and the cool thing, just not to drag on here, but that building actually was a Methodist church, like in the 1800s, and the members of the community where I grew up, and so my grandfather was in that community, great grandfather, Barrie Blakely. He was probably 14 at the time. So this is during the Depression that church was falling apart, and so the members of this community got together. They went like 20 miles away and covered wagons, disassembled this building by hand, marked all the boards, brought it back in wagons, reassembled it in their community, and it's still standing there today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it shows, it's my roots totally. Right. This is a mile away from where I grew up and where my mom's side of the family's been for 4 generations. And so
it's not one of those stars aligning things. There couldn't be a more appropriate place.
Yeah, totally. Wow. So that video is on our Facebook page. It's Facebook.com/OwenGlassMusic. Our website is owen-glass.com. And what you can do on there, you can hear our single "Here It Comes," which came out on December 23rd. That was the anniversary of the Federal Reserve Act being signed into law.
Gross.
And, totally. And so, the full record is set for release May 10th. And anybody that jumps on to the email list can get some free tracks and all that good stuff and stay updated about the release. And what we'd really like to push is pre-orders, because that affects your chart position so much, as you know. So
nice.
That would help us get more exposure. So.
I believe this is actually coming out on the 1st of May was my plan, because I want to try and time it a little bit with it for you guys.
Awesome.
So
Perfect.
So, all right, Liz, you're the arbiter. Are we?
Yeah, I'm really excited.
You're satisfied?
I think it was a wonderful interview. We really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Here's a question I have. You guys have any plans about doing this live and taking it on the road or anything like that? Or am I going to get a chance to see up here in the almost Midwest?
There will at least be one live show, right?
Yeah, we're going to do like a celebration show, not really a traditional album release show. It'll probably be a little bit later, and we're going to have that all videoed and produced, well, to offer it to fans.
Do it at PorkFest. Come hang out with us.
That would be awesome.
That would be really
We'd
cool.
love to. We're definitely open to invitations. I don't know that we necessarily have plans to get out there on the road. We talked about a short fall tour, but it would most likely be, in
local.
Texas, maybe a couple neighboring states. But
it's a 7-piece and
I know.
Sure.
I get it.
it's in Oregon and Arkansas, and it's
we're all over the place.
it's hard to.
And everybody's got
everybody
jobs that they
coordinated.
make more money than being musicians.
Yes,
Right, yeah.
like 100% more money.
He's like, so far this has been a life suck. It's draining me, bleeding me dry, but
Yep.
So, all right, well, I'm going to go audition for a Cheap Trick tribute album, or tribute act, so it's going to be
Excellent.
Good luck.
Thanks so much.
Get your
guys.
hairspray.
Oh, I know,
I
right?
don't have enough hair for hairspray anymore. There was a time when I could have done the Xander, but really it's the shoulder pads and the jacket that I really need to work on.
Shoulder pads. Golly.
I probably have some extra laying around. I could send you.
I think about the what is the video there? Ain't That a Shame?
Oh, God.
That they used to do, and he's got that aqua sequined. I don't know that it is sequined, but I think sequined aqua shoulder padded jacket that he's wearing.
That's a heck of a number.
And the pleated pants.
It's the pattern on the pants.
Goodness. How terrible would pleats look on me, Liz?
I mean, if you could pull that off, you could do anything. So
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, it's been a lot of fun, and thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks so much
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
I know we didn't talk a lot of politics, and that's what you guys like to do, right?
No.
I personally, like I said, I think within like the quote unquote liberty movement, we just need to talk about shit we want to talk about, and be people first, and let the politics kind of be what they're gonna be.
Yeah, those arguments have already been made and won, and so we can talk about something else.
All right.
Exactly. If you want to learn about the philosophy, go listen to Tom Woods.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and please do. Yeah.
please.
All right, guys, you go and have yourselves a good day.
Have you seen my
do the
shoulder
same.
pads around here?
So relevant.
Climb to your rolling, run till your